Hello and welcome to Command Stack. I am Ryan. We did it. We did it, Armada crew, Armada community. We had a Worlds. We had a community run Worlds. And what a great time it was. Just even saying those words, I think we should all be extremely happy about what we did. Um, there were people who had more to do with it than others. We had um, James and Stu Bucket and Doty and all the other judges and the people who set up the tournament who physically went there and, set the mats up for us, set the tables up, set, table numbers for us to play. And, they were central. We could not have done it without them. But I also want to thank the rest of the community. If you played, right? If you spent your hard-earned money and you traveled, what an incredible thing to do to support the community. If you watched, right? If you just watched one of the streams that we had, if you were part of the Minnesota crew who made the stream happen, we had a couple of, I know Truthiness, he had his own stream going as well. To those content creators who weren't able to make it. I know Corsac was one who did a podcast right once the top 8 was finalized. Thank you to all those people for making this happen. Just watching one of the streams, thank you for making it happen. If you posted about Worlds, if you told your community about it and someone from your community was able to go, it was a group effort. And so thank you all. It was a great time. It really felt like Worlds. There was a lot of drama going right when ARC announced Worlds and whatnot. Like what I can tell you, none of that was present. We all played. We had a Nexus tournament. We had a Legacy team tournament. We had an FFG AMG tournament. And then we had the Worlds in general. So it felt like Worlds. It was 86 people, I think, at the end of the day for the top tournament. And I washed out my first in day one. So I had time to play Monster Trucks, which was a format I had not played before. I had time to play the team tournament and had a great time doing it. I just think we did it. We should be super happy about that. And then we kind of start looking towards next year and what that's going to look like. And don't have any inside information for sure, but by the way, James, who's Matrin on our Discord, and Doty were talking about it. Certainly looks like we're going to have a Worlds for next year. So start saving your money. Start saving your time off if you work. And it seems like we're going to definitely have this next year. And let's make it even bigger than it was this year. What I can tell you is I happened to buy earrings for my daughter. I told my kids who are 7 and 4 that I would pick up something for them at Adepticon that I would give them. I like to return from a trip with something for my kids, and it's kind of hard to find something for a 7 and 4-year-old at Adepticon. But I was able to get earrings for my daughter, and while I was buying, and I got a big honkin' dice cube, piece, like one of those big dice, custom dice for my son, which 4-year-old son got a kick out of. But while I was buying earrings for my daughter, I happened to run into Hank Edley, who was just there at the jewelry stand as well. And Hank Edley runs Adepticon, and I just took 30 seconds of his time, and I just thanked him, and I just said, thank you for making this happen. Thanks to Adepticon for putting this on. It means a lot to the Armada community, and I just left it at that. But he followed up and he said, you know what, Star Wars Armada is one of his favorite games, and he was really happy to do it for our community. So they deserve the final shout out, Adepticon, for making it happen for the community. I'm not going to really talk about my day one, my only day, I guess. it I flew a Dodonalist, and like I said, I went 1-3. I had 4 6-5s. So I just really wasn't able to make anything happen in any of my games. All my opponents flew really well, and were great to fly against from like a sportsmanship kind of standpoint. So um, I don't think there's really much value in me talking too much about them. But I am going to, for the next several episodes, talk about the top 40. And a lot's going to change with, there might be some new content coming or points adjustments. But I think it's worth recognizing the people who got in the top 40 and going over their lists, and seeing how, seeing if there's anything interesting. I think one thing, um, as someone who commentates on the state of, competitive Armada, is that it was a pretty humbling tournament in terms of predictions. I think I had some things right, but I definitely didn't have Obi-Wan in the top two. And so I think that takes a little bit of reflection. Jason Dietrich got second, and when I have time to go back and watch some of those games, I'll talk more about the winners and the top eight. I just haven't had time to watch those games. But Jason Dietrich is always kind of one of the best players in Armada. Has a high skill floor, knows what he's doing with MSU or squadless lists, but I did not see Obi-Wan. I thought he almost handicapped himself with an Obi-Wan list, but he made it happen, and so I think that's pretty humbling. And so I think my approach to analyzing these top 40 lists is going to be, what did people uncover with a list? What was unconventional? What did they unlock? And see and take it from there. So hopefully you can see on the screen, or if you're listening, I'm just going to go through the top four pretty quick. 40th was Kevin Hayes with an Admiral Screed list, and I think I played Kevin in the team tournament and was a great opponent. But he went 1-3 with an Admiral Screed list, just for Screed to be in the top 40. This is Arc Screed, so that was exciting to see Arc Screed make a splash. Top 40 is an accomplishment. I know Kevin getting 40th may not totally feel like that, but it's an accomplishment. I did not make it. There are plenty of people who did not make it, and to do it with a Screed list who's not considered a great admiral is pretty impressive. So he had a 4 activation Screed list with a Kuat, which makes a lot of sense. He had Fire Control Team. Look at that. Fire Control Team. So he is getting off all the crits with HIEs and ACMs. So he is taking basically any of your, all your shields off. Really, I think is kind of where it's going. So he can get HIEs and ACMs, which people have tried to make Fire Control Team work for a really long time. And this is what I'm talking about when I say, let's just look at lists and let's just see what people are doing. And he made it work, which is super cool. And he said he's got Chimera in there. He went with Entrapment Formation. I'm sure he swaps that out pretty quickly with something like IF or something else. Or maybe he keeps Take Evasive Action to get an extra yaw. But I think the heart of the Kuat list there is the Fire Control Team, which is super interesting. Then he's got a Glad 1 with Demolisher and Beck. A lot of people like taking Beck. Beck works pretty well on a Glad. People like Beck. ACM is super interesting too. So he's definitely shredding shields. That's the goal. Shredding shields to get to Hull. And then he's got a Jerk Gazanti with Tua, Slicer Tools, and ECMs. So that is going to slice, probably whatever his target is or whatever the carrier is. Then he's got a Gazanti with Vader, Comset, and Reserve Hanger decks. So then he's got a really interesting Squad Ball of Gamma as his only token ace. And then Valen, 2 TIE Bombers, TIE Fighter, TIE Interceptor, and Lambda. That's kind of a do-it-all ball for 75 points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like 7 squads there for 75 points is pretty good. With the 2 TIE Bombers and Gamma, as a third TIE bomber. It's doing, if you hit a squad list, um, then you are doing some nice damage there. But it's got a nice enough fighter ball to kind of tie things down. Doing a lot for 75 points, and they got the Lambda there. I wonder if there's interesting. My bet would be there's some pretty interesting objective shenanigans going on with that Lambda. But look, congratulations to Kevin with the 40th list. Really interesting Screed list, and maybe we'll see some Fire Control team moving on. Definitely unconventional. Something I like to see. So 39th was a Grievous list. Dennis Bakafin. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Dennis. Dennis went 0-4, but had some close losses with a 5 and a 4 there. But with the Grievous list, so he was flying a 3 activation Grievous, which is a lot what we see with Grievous. So he was basically flying full squads, Grievous. He had a 3-point bid. And when we talk about trends, bidding is one of those things just to keep an eye on. Let's see, what was Kevin's? Did Kevin have a bid? Kevin did not, so 400. Dennis had a 3-point bid. So Dennis was flying the Provident Dreadnoughts, which is not probably the less popular one, but with Invincible to throw on. Let's see, what did he throw on with Invincible? Thermals. Makes sense. So thermals, flight controllers with Tykes, boosted, and LTTs. So he is commanding squads with that Dreadnought. I wonder why he went with the Dreadnoughts instead of the carrier. I guess maybe it's the flight controllers that he wanted, but I'm gonna check that because I thought with the carrier you could still take flight controllers, but let me double check. You cannot. So I think that's why he took the Dreadnought, was for the flight controllers, would be my thought. The Muni, the Arc Muni with Rune Hako. So there you go, another Arc piece that gets in the top 40. Rune Hako, boosted comms, thermal shields, LTT, and Bomber Command Center, which is super cool to see on that. And then just a generic Sea-Rock Gazanti. And then so for his squad ball, he had he had 2 aces. So now we're up to 2 token aces here. But he had both of the bombers, the CIS bombers, which are both good. And then he had 2 hyenas, and then total of 8 anti-squad. So he had 6 vultures and 2 tries. I think with that squad ball, he really is trying to win the squad fight first, and then send in his bombers. So with this list, pacing would be pretty interesting. So he's gonna, with the first activation, probably throw his vultures in with flight controllers and trying to take out the squad ball over the first turn or 2, and then shift into throwing the hyenas to do their work on top of whatever damage the Dreadnought and the Muni can put out. So interesting list. Congratulations to Dennis. And then in 38th is Bodie. So Bodie from the Speculation Station podcast. Look at what he did. So he faced 2 people from the top 8. So Jason and Matthew both got into top 8. So that is a tough way to start. But Bodie got 38th. Congrats to Bodie. He was flying a 4 activation Martuk list. So he's basically got 2 heavy hitters, is how he built this list. So he's got the carrier, a Providence class carrier with Martuk, Rune Hako, thermal shields, reinforced blast doors, intensify firepower, reserve hangar decks, X-Racks, leading shots, H9s, and invincible. So that is a tank. What did he add? Oh, he added reinforced blast doors with invincible. So that is pretty much like a 12 hull ship with reinforced blast doors. I love reinforced blast doors, so I like to see that on there. So that is a big 176. So that's your target. But then you have so that's going to soak up all your damage. And that he's throwing that in there to try to draw fire while Patriot's Fist can dance around and just eliminate things with apparently all the accuracies. So he had the Light Destroyer Recusant with Patriot's Fist and Sensor Team, but also quad turbo laser cannons. So he is getting lots of accuracies with Patriot's Fists, not fooling around there. Another reserve hanger deck, so he's got 2 reserve hanger decks. And let's see what else. X-Racks. So in case anyone gets close, he's got X-Racks to pop on you as well. Then he's got 2 Gazanis, one with Hondo, and then 6 Vultures. So with 2 RHGs, that is a big points efficient squad ball. He's got a big bid at 390, which is super interesting. I don't know, looking at this list, if he wants to go first or second, frankly. And I don't really know Bodie's style, so I don't know if he really likes first or second. My thought would be this is maybe a second player list. He's got those H9s, so maybe you're going to take close range intel scans and force people with some other bad objectives, your blue and yellow objectives. But my thought is this could do really well either way, and maybe that's how he plays it. It's matchup dependent. So it's a big bid, 10 points. But congratulations to Bodie. So that's a 4 activation CIS list with 6 vultures. And then finally, in 37th is one of our Louisville locals, Jeff Runge, who was flying Akbar, and he went 1 and 3 on the day. He was flying an, 4 activation Akbar with a big 112 points of squads. So his CR90A was flying. His flagship had Akbar on it, which was the CR90 with Lando, which I'd love to see Lando, TRCs, and Jaina's Lights. That's a beefy CR90 at 98 points, but it's got Lando. So really point efficient defensive tech. Another CR90A, and then his bigger ship is a Mark II assault frigate with Ezra, Kaitkin, proximity mines, ECMs, and H9s, and then a GR75 with Sabine, Bomber Command Center, and boosted comms. So he's getting at least three prox mines out there, which is pretty cool. Squad ball is interesting. Corin Horn, Dash, Ketsu, and Luke for your aces with gold and green, just bombers. As your other bombers. So he's got 6 squads. With no Tauren, with no Adar, it's a squad ball that will kind of have to play really well to try to fight another 134, but maybe that's what he's looking to do. I'll fight the other 134 to a draw and then come out with Akbar that he called Admiral Smackbar. And with a bid of 5 points, he probably most of the time can get to choose which one he wants, first or second. And with those prox mines, it would be super interesting if you put like a prox mine on infested fields. Maybe that helps kind of equal out the squad game. So interesting list by Jeff. I know Jeff is back, has already started sending out lists for us to start looking at. So he is super excited to make day 2 and back in the workshop of looking at lists. So more to come. I'm going to go through 4 lists at a time, get all the way down to the top 4 lists. But we're started here with 37 through 40. So I hope you enjoy. And as always, what a great time. Start making your plans for next year.